Hi, and welcome to Carolina Varsity's conference previews look. We hadn't been saying, but this is the 2013 season. I'm Dale Ross.
I'm the pep man, Matt Morrow, and we're going to take a look at the Southwestern 4A conference. Traditionally the strongest conference in Charlotte. Don't know if that's the case this year, but we'll talk about that a little later. Jump right into my predictions here. We've had interesting time here in the preseason with some of these teams here. And my predictions, I kind of, had a tough time trying to decide who was going to be in the top, four really of this league. And I've settled on Butler being number one. I think that winning over Richmond seems going to propel those guys. I think it's going to be the spark that they needed. They got the new kid at receiver in Barrow, who comes just in time when they needed a big threat on the outside. Of course, we know they can run the ball, both with LeMay and Ratliff. And, of course, Ratliff can throw the ball. But Independence number two, they got two losses going into conference play. Now, granted, they got East Mech coming up, but they're showing some chinks in the armor, especially stopping the run. And in this league, you got to be able to stop the run to be successful. You got some good backs in this league, and they're gonna be in some dogfights, including the annual matchup with the rival in Butler.
Right.
So I think 1 and 2 there's gonna be really close. I think that game could be a really, really good game. I mean, even better than the ones that they've had in the past, because I think both of those teams are about on the same level right now.
Right.
Porter Ridge, I got them at number 3.
Okay.
Even though they lost to Sun Valley, that's a back that no one else has, and he could be the best back in the area in Mecfklenburg. There's no shame in that. But conference-wise, overall, I think they've shown that they're going to be able to play with some of the 4A teams. They played with Mount Tabor, who defeated Butler. They lost by 2 at home to that team, so they're going to be able to be in these ball games.
Right.
The difference is, of course, depth, because they're one of the smallest teams in 4A, and it's going to be the wear and tear of going up against 4A competition week in and week out, instead of maybe just playing them in a non-conference and getting into 3A, which the teams aren't as big and strong, consistently.
Right.
So that's going to be a factor for those guys as well. I got Rocky River at number 4, and they're the team to watch here. They got the athletes, they got the talent. Now, can they put it all together when conference play started? If they can beat any of those teams above them. But they're the type of team that if they're having trouble offensively, they could lose to, maybe a team under them, And it's a team that you got to watch, because they got talent and they got the coaching.
Right.
And they just got to bring it all together, and they can do some big things. Myers Park at number 5. I think they're a dangerous team. The health with Coach Stein, I think, is a little bit of a factor here. Anytime your head coach is out for a period of time, that's a blow to you. But they've got offensive talent. They've got receivers. They've got Alexander at running back, Norris at quarterback. The defense is playing a little bit better, it seems. So, once again, that's a team that can pull an upset, too, if you don't come to play. You can't take them for granted. Rounding out the conference, I got East Mech and Garinger. And we've said enough about East Mech and Garinger. I think East Mech will beat Garinger, but that's Garinger's best chance for a win, going forward for the rest of the season.
Exactly. Okay. We're going to have another video to talk about what we think all the conferences combined. And, I've kind of said in the other videos a few things. And this one I'm going to say maybe the most intriguing or interesting. 2 weeks ago, I had Independence winning this conference.
It was hands down.
But right now, I've got Butler I think Butler's solid at number 1. I don't believe there's a huge gap between them and everybody else, but I've got them at number 1. I think what they did last week kind of shows us, at least, that there is potential. We had talked about the best offenses, and in the Southwestern 4A, they have the most points. 207 points. So they've outscored the offense that we picked, who was actually third in scoring in the Southwestern 4A. Independence, I've got them at number 2, and I'm going to tell you what, this team can go either way.
Yes, yes it can.
I can see this team pulling together and winning the conference and going undefeated even, or I can see them falling apart and being down here struggling with the Myers Park. Unfortunately, I think we're dealing with teenagers, and they're going into this 3-2 right now. Like you're saying, it's not just 3-2; it's two losses in a row. Granted, they're very good teams, but that doesn't. In the kids' minds, that's a whole different animal. So Coach Evans is going to have to right the ship there, not just scheme-wise, but mentally. We flipped on the Rocky River Porter Ridge. I fully appreciate and understand why. I've got Rocky River, coming into the conference, or coming into the season, in preseason, in the summer, I had in my mind that Rocky River could be a contender. Now I'm a little questioning whether they can be that contender based on their performance through the regular season. Granted, they're 4-1 and they lost the game that at the beginning of the season you'd have picked them to lose,
right.
And they won the games. They haven't been scoring quite like I thought they would. 116 points on the season. That's actually 5th in the Southwestern 4A in scoring. Oh, and by the way, Independence is best in holding teams to points down of 76, and we talk about their defense a lot. Granted, you got a North Mac and a West Charlotte in there, so.
Yeah.
Porter Ridge, I have them at 4th, and Porter Ridge is, I think, a dangerous team for all of these teams. Porter Ridge's biggest issue is going to be depth. Like you say, they're one of the smallest. They will definitely be playing the 4A just like they have. Mm-hmm. They're coming out of a split 4A 3A conference, so 1 week they would play Sun Valley as 4A, and then I think the rest of that conference was 3A.
I believe
that was one of those conferences that 2 teams automatically made it into the playoffs regardless.
Wow.
Because split conferences, 2 teams get in. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, they had the Weddington and Marvin Ridge, who's not has not been a pushover in the past.
Right.
But now they're going to be going locking jaws with some of the biggest schools in the state. Myers Park, Independence, Rocky River's up there. So lots of kids. I think Porter Ridge has the potential to make a lot of noise. Mm-hmm. Myers Park, we're the same on that. I might have to cut that one out. I couldn't help it. So Myers Park, I can see them giving trouble to all of the teams above, including Butler.
I can see that too.
Whether they can knock them off, I think they're going to be in for a battle I think they can put up a battle every game. My big question mark for them right now, I think offensively they're sound, and they got one of the best backs, I think, in the conference in Alexander. Mm-hmm. And I like their quarterback, as you know. Defensively, I think they're aggressive and they play well, but what's going to happen with that offense with Coach Stein is Coach Stein, he had problems last year, and a lot of people know this, but some of the things I hear or heard was that there was even question whether he was even going to coach again. He was in such pain with his back, and so he's had another surgery this past week, so we'll have to see. Obviously, our thoughts are with you, Coach, if you are watching. But that team does have an opportunity, and we don't even really have to talk about East Mec and Garinger. Yeah. One will have 1 win, and one will have no wins. Yeah. I think that's really it.
All right. Thanks, guys. That's our look at the Southwestern 4A. Stay tuned for a little bit more.
Yep.